An understaffed healthcare system and housing shortages are problems that have plagued Ireland for years. With the recent influx of asylum seekers, how does the government plan to support them and its residents? 2 years ago, Roderick O'Gorman, the Irish Minister for Integration, tweeted that welfare migrants coming to Ireland could get a free home within 4 months. This has led to criticism and worry among some Irish citizens that this promise adds more pressure to an already struggling housing system. While some have been waiting for council houses for up to a decade, others argue that refugees have been granted housing before them. According to the most recent figures, 14,000 adults and children were in homeless accommodation in Ireland this March, a yearly jump of 16%. A recent government housing report revealed that Ireland is lacking up to 256,000 homes. Given this situation, some people wonder if the country can afford to welcome more migrants. Housing provision has always been one of the key issues marking Ireland, and it has been the case for many years. During the Celtic Tiger boom period in the 1990s and 2000s, Ireland saw a rapid expansion of private construction as banks were eager to grant huge loans. This caused a construction bubble that eventually burst with the 2008 financial crisis. After the crash, the Irish government failed to adequately invest in social and affordable housing, leading to a shortage of supply and pushing more people into the private rental market. Ongoing issues like complex planning regulations, high costs of land and labor, and limited new construction have kept housing supply constrained, driving up prices and making homeownership unaffordable for many. The lack of affordable housing options, both for purchase and rent, has become a major social and economic issue in Ireland in recent years. This has forced more people, particularly younger adults, into insecure housing situations or to delay starting families and careers due to the high costs. Today, the average cost for a new house in Ireland is about €450,000. Many people in Ireland are concerned that the government considers this price affordable. When it comes to renting, the average cost per month for a one-bedroom apartment in Dublin is €2,000, while a three-bedroom apartment costs €3,500. As Britain strengthens its efforts to discourage asylum seekers, thousands are escaping the UK's increasingly strict asylum policies by re-entering the EU through the accessible Irish border. Immigration first emerged in Irish life during the prosperous Celtic Tiger era 30 years ago, with asylum seekers typically arriving after spending months or even years trying to settle in neighboring Britain. For those fleeing war, famine, or poverty, it has historically been easier to reach Britain than Ireland due to main air links and trafficking routes. Now that the UK's tough new immigration laws have finally been approved, asylum seekers flee the Sunak government's threat to ship them to the East African nation of Rwanda. With limited rights to appeal, many are leaving Britain and entering the Republic of Ireland by crossing the Czechs-free border with its UK neighbour, Northern Ireland. When you spend time chatting with any of the hundreds of single men arriving weekly at Ireland's International Protection Office, you'll learn from Arabs, Africans, Afghans, and Indians, some of whom speak with unmistakable touches of regional English accents, that they see Ireland as their last chance to stay in Europe, now that Britain has withdrawn the welcome mat. The Republic of Ireland only shares a land border with Northern Ireland, which is part of the United Kingdom. In 2023, an estimated 80% of the approximately 7,000 people arriving in Ireland crossed the border from Northern Ireland. This situation is unique because Northern Ireland is part of the UK, while the Republic of Ireland is an EU member state. The land border between the two countries is the only land border between the UK and an EU country. Keeping the Irish border barrier-free despite Brexit has been crucial for Ireland's economy and the hundreds of thousands of Irish citizens who live in Northern Ireland. But it also makes it exceptionally easy for asylum seekers to shift without hindrance from the UK to Ireland. Other routes by sea and air aren't as straightforward. Even though Britain and Ireland have had a common travel area for the past century, which allows British and Irish citizens to freely live and work in each other's countries, Passport controls operated by the police still exist at the Irish end of UK flights to verify the rights of non-European Economic Area nationals to enter. Traveling by vehicle or train from Northern Ireland has become more popular, especially after Irish authorities tightened rules on allowing UK asylum seekers to board Ireland-bound aircraft. Over the past year, Ireland's Department of Integration and the International Protection Office have encountered significant challenges in finding enough housing for around 100,000 Ukrainian refugees and at least 30,000 existing asylum seekers. This issue is part of a larger housing crisis in Ireland, as there's a shortage of affordable and available housing. The situation has been further complicated by the high demand for housing and the limited supply, making it challenging to accommodate both refugees and asylum seekers. The situation is becoming overwhelming for Ireland, leading to calls for the UK to take back individuals with ongoing asylum cases in its system. Irish officials warn that, without cooperation from the UK, Ireland could be dealing with over 20,000 asylum cases this year alone, many of which originated from the UK. This places additional strain on Ireland's already stretched housing and support systems. In response to the situation, the Irish government considered deploying 100 Irish police forces to the border with Northern Ireland to manage emigration from Ireland. However, this plan was quickly scrapped following criticism from UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak. He emphasized that there could be no cherry-picking of international agreements, referring to the Good Friday Agreement signed in 1998. This agreement mandates the maintenance of an open border between Ireland and Northern Ireland as part of the peace process. Therefore, any increase in border security by Ireland would breach the terms of this international agreement. Not only is Ireland struggling with housing shortages, but its healthcare system is creaking under capacity constraints. There have been some dramatic improvements in the health service, but you'll often hear of GPs who can't take on any new patients, along with lengthy waiting times for accident and emergency departments. Last year, 2.6% of the Irish population reported experiencing unmet medical needs, above the EU average. Long waiting lists were the main reason people failed to receive adequate care, and those in the lowest income bracket were most likely to be affected. Despite increased investment in the sector, experts claim that shortcomings are ultimately linked to increasing demand, resulting in a shortage of beds and doctors. Moreover, hundreds of Irish doctors have been forced to emigrate because they could no longer afford to live in Ireland. The root causes of emigration concerns cannot be addressed by Ireland alone. The Irish government has expressed its intention to join the EU's Pact on Migration and Asylum. The pact aims to establish a humane and manageable European approach to migration, offering protection for those escaping conflict or persecution and attracting skilled migrants to contribute to Europe's sustainable growth. By participating, Ireland will share responsibility with other EU countries in managing migration more effectively and compassionately, which will benefit both migrants and European societies. This brings us to the end of our video. See you in the next one. Goodbye.